Okay, we're going to finish up 3.3 and move on to 3.4. And this 3.4 may be a two-parter, so we don't make it too long, and that will finish up on test number 2. So the key to graphing is right here, this solving the equation for y. So you'll get it in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is always the coefficient of the x in it. The slope is defined as the vertical change divided by the horizontal change, or the rise over the run, or this formula right here, which is the slope formula. So if we're given 2 points and we want to find the slope, the first thing we do is label one point x2, y2 for the x and y values, and the other point x1 and y1. So then we substitute the numbers into our formula, and the result is the slope. So here y2 is 5 minus the 1 for y1 is 4. Likewise, the x2 is 3 minus 0 is 3. So our slope determined by these 2 points is 4 over 3. So that means for every 4 changes in the y, there's 3 in the x. So moving on to 3.4, we're going to deal with some special cases here. Slope of a horizontal line. So a horizontal line has a slope of 0. And you'll see it such as this, y equals 3. The standard form is some number of x's plus some number of y's equals c. But here you can see that there are no x's. So you get y equals 3. So let's see why the slope is 0. So if we have 2 points that are on that line, negative 2, 3, and 3, 3, you'll notice that the y values are the same. So when we plug these points into our formula for the slope, notice y2 is 3, y1 is 3, so when we subtract those, we get 0. And x2 is 3 minus a minus 2, which would actually be 3 plus 2, we get 5. So 0 divided by 5 is 0. So this is okay. You can divide 0 by a number. We're going to look at a vertical line in a minute, and we'll see why that slope is undefined. So a horizontal line would be one like this. We have an x and a y. It would be a line right here. Horizontal. It doesn't go up, doesn't go down. It's like the horizon. That has a slope of 0. So a vertical line would be something like x equals 2, where you're not given a y value. So there's 0 y's. So if there's 2 points on a vertical line, negative 2, 1 and negative 2, 3, you'll notice that the x values are the same. So when we plug these points into our formula, we'll end up with 3 minus 1, or 2, and then negative 2, negative a negative 2, which would be negative 2 plus 2, and we will end up with 2 divided by 0. We can never divide by 0. That's a KO. So When you want to divide by 0, it's called undefined because we really can't do that. So parallel lines have the same slope, but they cross the y-axis in different places. So if we have y equals 3x plus 2, that's one line, and y equals 3x minus 2, you notice that the 3's has the same slope. It's just that they cross the y-intercept in different places. So this one crosses at 0, 2. And this one crosses at 0, negative 2. So parallel lines will never intersect. That's the only lines that will not. So parallel lines, the same slope. Perpendicular lines have negative inverses of each other. This negative means they have the opposite sign. So if we have a slope of 3, remember if you have a whole number for the slope, you want to put it over 1. And we want to get a line perpendicular to it, we have to use the negative first. This is a positive, so we're going to make it a negative. And then we invert the fraction. Instead of 3 over 1, it becomes 1 over 3. So not only is the fraction inverted, it has to be of opposite sign. We have done this one already. Let's move on down here. Given two lines, we have to determine whether they're parallel, meaning the same slope. Or they're perpendicular, negative inverses of each other. So if they're neither of these, they're neither. So the first step you need to do here is to make sure both equations are solved for y. So this first one is solved for y, so we're fine there. The second one is not. So we have to solve it for y. So we would get rid of the x on the left-hand side with a negative x. And then we would have negative 5y equals negative x minus 10. And then we'd have to divide everything by a negative 5. So we get y equals 1/5 x plus 2. When you have something like this, x over 5, so what's the slope? Well, we have 1x, so it's 1/5. So you want to write it like that. So let's check the slopes. This is a slope of negative 5 over 1. This is a slope of a positive 1 over 5. So are they the same slopes? No. So they're not parallel. Are they perpendicular? Well, are these negative inverses of each other? Well, let's see. If we change the sign here from a negative to a positive, we're in good shape. And then if we invert the fraction, we would have 1 over 5. So that would be yes for the perpendicular. So that means these two lines that we're given right here would intersect at right angles or 90 degrees. And we will stop right there and